Right, welcome again. So let's get into the details of the change management, the principle that we discussed earlier. All right. Change management, of course, has a definition to itself, but let me take you directly into your takeaways from here. Okay. Now, I mentioned the fact that every organization and individual who is getting into the business world, be it an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a business owner, a small or medium-sized enterprise, a large conglomerate, or anyone out there, they go through their cycles, right? And what you see on the screen is something called a derivation from a Kubler-Ross cycle. Kubler-Ross had done this for some other purpose, but is seemed to be very effective for the business cycles. Okay. Now, if you see, there is always a startup stage, right? What you see on your screen as a diagram is after the startup stage, because the startup stage leads to a very rapid growth stage typically, if they're successful. All right. So once the growth stage starts, right, that's when the acceleration happens the maximum, because everybody's passion, potential, activities, and everything that is supposed to work is working very well for them until the point it stabilizes. And incidentally, this is true even for nations, right? They grow very rapidly, right? The GDPs are going out of the roof and so on and so forth until they stabilize and they ease it out. Human nature. They ease it out, they let loose the strings, and that is when the a lot of issues start happening, which starts to the factor of having a lot of negative elements that affects the GDP, all right, at an organization level. Same for individuals, where they start loosening their purse strings, right? And when they start spending, overspending, then what's coming in. Same for larger organizations. They go about, getting out there and freaking out on the advertisements and incentives and whatnot, right? Without really seeing the repercussions that are happening until the time it really hits their quarterly reports. But having said that, okay, a good example before I move on of stability and stability is US, right? They printed like hell after the pandemic, and look at the inflation now, right? That's causing all the issues right now. What they had to. So with that said, the decline starts at that point of time for people, individual businesses or countries. And when the decline happens, it happens very rapidly because there are too many levers to be controlled at that point of time. They don't come in handy as soon. Now, there are no advanced indicators. There are advanced indicators that people typically in the stable stage keep to look away from, saying that these are normal elements which are showing up, which might not be taken seriously until it is on a very steep slope. And that's when people start jumping. And when they jump, they panic. They panic, they take wrong decisions. And that's when it goes all the way down. Until the point they come back to their own senses of becoming almost like a startup, where they have to think very differently. And once they have to think differently, then again the thought process as per the environment and the world and their ecosystem, they start working up their goals, their relationship with the partners, and so on and so forth, to get to the next level of growth. And that typically is a second cycle, right? So every organization, individual, and countries, right, or civilizations go through this process. Okay. So having said that, we'll focus on the individual perspective of small businesses because that's the audience that we are dealing with right now. So this is important for people like you to know that which cycle you are in, right? So that when you're taking decisions, your decisions, or when you see certain lead indicators towards what is happening, okay. Again, lead indicators will be discussed at the right time, probably at the blitzscaling level, and at very advanced level during the Rise 5, I believe, where we go very, very deep into change management and transformation principles. Okay, and various activities from a practical basis, what is to be done from a consultative activity, right? So I hope you understand, right? So there's a change management, which are small changes in organization. It's termed as a systematic approach towards transition and discrete changes to achieve some shorter goals. Transformation typically is at a very large level. A collection of these changes come into play to make a larger change. Typically, an organization could mean getting into the getting better than the competition by virtue of changing a business model itself, or working out a strategy which changes a current business to a business of future, right, of sorts. So things like that, and working maybe from a workforce oriented or people oriented organization to an automated digital organization, so whole digitalization process. So there are various definitions to these things, right? But what is shown on your screen are the basic change management transformation changes that occur in individuals, organizations, and even at the level of maybe certain countries. So you need to know where you are, right? Hence the purpose of giving you the inputs and the key principles of change management here. Okay, now let me see you in the next lecture, where I talk about the epic system, a system which will help you come out of or implement these changes at the right time when you know which cycle you are in. Okay, I'll see you there. Bye.